This is Friar Roderic here for AirMaria.com, and we're in Washington, D.C. for the March for Life, and we're at the Marriott Convention Center, and we're very happy to have here Natalie Koch. How you doing, Natalie?
Very good. Thank you very much.
What organization do you represent?
I'm from Bethany Christian Services. We provide adoption services all across the United States.
Wow. So it's a very important service, and you're very nationwide, very largest in the country.
Yes, we are the largest nationwide. We have we provide domestic adoption services as well as international.
That's great, because this is talking about pro-life. You're talking about giving women really a choice. You're almost being pro-choice and you're pro-life, right?
Oh, exactly. When we're offering women choices, adoption is one of them, and it's a viable, beautiful pro-life option that we all need to be able to cultivate more of in this society. So.
How old is this organization?
Bethany is around for over 60 years, was founded in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but since then has spread all across the United States. I'm here in Maryland today for the march, but I am based out of our Manhattan office in New York City, and I spend a lot of my times in all the boroughs. Working with birth parents who are faced with an unplanned pregnancy and helping them throughout their pregnancy in choosing the best option. So whether that's parenting or whether it's adoption.
So in other words, when you first meet someone, they're at a certain stage in their pregnancy, and then you help them through the whole process right up to adoption.
Exactly. So we have birth parents who come to us at all different stages. So some are 2 months pregnant, others have just delivered a baby in the hospital, and we'll get a call from the hospital that we have to be there within the hour. And our job is really just to come alongside them and support them in their pregnancy. And in the end, birth mothers decide that adoption is not the best option, and they will go on to parent, or they decide to choose adoption, and we introduce them to adoptive families, and they could choose an open adoption where they get a chance to meet the family and continue an ongoing friendship and relationship.
So you're very much involved with the birth parents, and then there's also a whole other side, which is the adoptive parents.
Exactly. So within our organization, we have a team of social workers representing and working with the birth families, counseling them in the process, and then we have another set of social workers who are working with the adopting families to come alongside them and to support them. And because openness is something that hasn't been around for many years, we're there to help cultivate those relationships in the adoption triad, which is the adoptive family, the birth parent, and the child.
It's beautiful. So that's really almost an extended family in a sense.
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so.
You're sort of part of the family too, right?
Yes. My supervisor has been a part of Bethany for around 12 years and started off doing a lot of birth parent counseling. And still to this day, she meets up with birth parents who made an adoption plan 12 years ago and goes out to eat with them and talks to them, and they have an ongoing relationship with the family and obviously with the social worker too. It's just, yeah.
It's very beautiful.
It is.
So you have, it's a very big organization. You're in how many states?
Now you totally, and this is something I probably should know.
There's a big list here.
There's a very big list.
So the whole back of this book has all the states. It's like about looks like 20 states. So it's pretty impressive.
Exactly.
And many offices in each state.
Yes, and yeah, exactly. So within the state, there's a lot of different branch offices. So I'm in our Manhattan office, but the cluster of offices that I'm a part of are in New Jersey, Connecticut, Albany, New York, Rochester, the tri-state area, exactly. So.
And now you're doing the birth parents, so that's getting into some areas where you have to sort of convince the birth mother to carry out the pregnancy, as opposed to the option, which is a negative option, the abortion. How hard is that sometimes?
It's something that we continue to lift up in prayer. Thankfully, we have an opportunity to work with incredible pro-life organizations who really specialize in that crisis aspect of a pregnancy, including the Sisters of Life, who are here today, who do phenomenal work. And there's been many times where I have gone with a birth mother who is really abortion-minded, has come to us to consider adoption, but is still really very much considering abortion, terminating the pregnancy. And there's been many times where I've gotten into a cab and we've driven over to the Sisters of Life and really try to get as many people in to support the mom and to love her and pray that God's will be done and that that the life of the child enter this world and whatever the plan is for that child, we know that it's great and we recognize that our role is just to support that.
Right. And so, what would you say is the biggest block that a lot of women have to carrying to term, and as opposed to adoption?
Yeah. I'm sorry. So you're asking the
what's the main objection that is, adoption is a beautiful option and abortion is it's a terrible option. What's the main? But we see so many people do choose abortion instead.
Abortion versus adoption.
Right. What's the main reason for that? Do you think?
You know what? Misconceptions and stereotypes on adoption,
right.
And we see it so often, and that's a very significant aspect of the work that we do at Bethany is advocacy. Going into schools, we just had an opportunity to go into a high school of 1,400 students in the Bronx to tell the students what adoption is, and we invited birth parents to come in to share their own personal testimony, and we had so many students come up to us afterwards and say, we had no idea that this is what adoption is.
Okay.
And very oftentimes people confuse adoption and foster care. So just those lingering stereotypes and misconceptions on what adoption is, and we truly believe that it begins in the pro-life world for pro-lifers to recognize what this option means, and when they're meeting with birth parents who are faced with an unplanned pregnancy, to not only say there's options, but then to go on and say this is what adoption looks like. So many people recognize it and understand it in the aspect of the family receiving a child, and whether it's international or whether it's domestic, and it's a beautiful experience, but then there's that missing piece on who is the birth mother, who is the mother of this child who has chosen life. And so when we're able to cultivate more of an understanding, and that goes back to our mission of going into schools and into churches and on campuses to educate people on what adoption is, because it is absolutely essential in order for us to help to break those stereotypes and those misconceptions which keep a mother from choosing adoption as an option.
Right. Well, it's very beautiful and very pro-life. It shows you you're really working to promote the beauty of life and the beauty of bringing a child into a beautiful family.
Very much so. It's beautiful, and it has been a blessing to be a part of.
Great, Natalie. God bless you. Thank you for giving us this wonderful introduction to Christian services.
Great. Thank you so much.
AirMaria. God bless. AirMaria.